Alright, what's good y'all? Robocoin here, and in today's video, I'm going to show y'all how I built my part in Blue Memories over here. But for this video, I'm going to be reading off a script, so I can explain my building process in more detail, because I forget a lot of stuff every time I freestyle my videos. I'll still say how I feel about what I made at the end of every section, but other than that, enjoy.
Leave me in a room with a 9 and a Birkin. $5 million, say I had that bitch twerk. 45 or a chopper.
For a quick rundown on what Blue Memories is, it's an upcoming easy to medium demon with underwater themed glow design. It uses the song Purity by Jumper, and it's inspired by 3 levels, a rated demon collab called Underwater by Baby. Yeah, I definitely butchered that, I'm sorry. And 2 upcoming levels called Atlantis by The Purgatory and Bubbles by Mish. But for Blue Memories, the host of the level is Sam Zaya, a well-known glow design creator. How generous of him to host a collab for the less fortunate. I can't lie, I've been eyeing this level since early 2025, back when my decoration was questionably improving. But fast forward to late 2025, I have a part. Thank you, Tom Brady, I mean Sam Zaya. And quick fun fact before we get into the next section, I'm building on part 3 in the level, which was formerly taken by Scholar Boy 999, who we now call Inherency. This is his old part on screen right here, which is some peak 2023 unoptimized glow design right here. Also, I'm pretty sure him and Sam Zaya were going back and forth during early 2025, back when people were getting exposed, and it worked out for me because I have a part. So anyways, here's how I started building my part.
Yeah, I get higher than a murder rate. Yeah.
Okay, what do I mean by making my gameplay? Well, here's the gameplay for my part before I started. And I'll forget all of that because I remade my gameplay. That was the first thing I did. Mostly because I wanted it to sync better and the invisible size portals were kind of stupid. Luckily, the gameplay was easy to build because I have 5 creator points but nothing to show for it. And personally, I think it's a bit more fun to play and look at than the old stuff. And it was more fun to decorate because of the structures I built. But we'll see what the people think when the level drops in, I don't know, 2028 before GTA 6. That sounds like a good time frame.
I'm gonna miss GTA in that.
Which GTA? What are you talking about, Robert?
6.
Oh, you got ages for that.
But anyways, next section.
Double cut when I wake up. Activist like take-up. Probably meeting my maker. Smoking exotic flavors.
I'm going to talk about how I made my pulses first. I took a pulse trigger, made it fade out after 1 second, and gave it a deep blue color with these RGB values on screen. Now for the placements, personally, I like to find a rhythm or a beat in the song and then just place them to that. Like for example, when you enter the ship portal right here, that's a beat to me. And when you click this yellow orb, that's another beat, and so on and so forth. And I hear 8 beats throughout the entire part, so I copy pasted the pulse trigger at the first and last beat you would hear in my part. That's 2 triggers down. And since there's no speed portals in my part, this allowed me to use Align X to sync the remaining 6 triggers I need in between the rest of the part. Boom, pulse is done, now onto my colors. Everyone already knows how to set colors for their objects, but since it's a collab part we're working on, the host usually appreciates you using color triggers instead of setting custom colors, so the host doesn't have to make them for you later on. That would take a really long time. The reason they would have to remake them for you is because of merging, and both take a really long time. Here are my color triggers. I've labeled what each one does so it's easier to read and maybe copy down. Because imagine if I slowly went through each one like this. But this, you should easily be able to read that. Like these triggers right here, I'm basically just copying the background color over and over and over until I reach full brightness. But anyways, now it's time for the editor layers. This is actually pretty simple. It's just the art of keeping tabs on what you want to use each editor layer for. I use a lot of editor layers to separate every single type of design in the level, so it's easier to navigate later on, especially for the host. One cool way to organize your editor layers is through text objects. Write down what you want each editor layer to contain. I got this idea from my friend Mobile1 because I saw how he organized one of his parts in a collab that I'll probably put on screen because I forgot, and I got inspired. Now it's a good habit of mine, other than optimization, which I'll touch on soon. Anyways, now it's time for the section you all probably clicked on this video for.
I told her ride it like a rental. It's just a rental. I'm not with all the sentimentals.
quick note, the background footage is me rebuilding one of my 2 block designs used in the level since I first made them off camera. If you want the exact colors, Z layers, and Z orders I used, look in the top left corner every time I select an object. I'll try to make another video soon creating a block design live, but for now, I'm just gonna summarize what I was going for like the other sections. Anyways, during my brainstorming stage, I've thought of making a block design that had overgrowth and looked like a sewer drain. And I know it's random to be reminded of a sewer drain of all things, but let me cook here. When making this block design, I still had my inner mobile habits of keeping my designs heavily optimized. I did this by abusing the warp options to stretch out my outlines in the black blocks I used for the black base, which may sound tedious, but it adds up over time, trust. The main attraction of the block design is actually the row of pulsing circles with glow on top that are powered by a spawn loop connected by a slightly rotated line, and another important thing, which is the 4x scale glow that I put on top of all my block designs to make them pulse really bright if I put them on a pulse trigger. I really like doing this effect and I'll try to use it more often. Anyways, these are the 2 block designs I used in the whole level, with the sewer drain looking design only being used once because I felt like it didn't fit anywhere else. Personally, I'm pretty happy with these designs. There's still room for improvement since this is one of my top 3 best parts I've made after like a billion years of creating in this game. But for now, I think they fit in the level and I hope to make better designs as I go on. I'm learning. Anyways, for my spikes, it just involves laying a bunch more spikes on top of each other to create what looks like a bright mini spike covered in glow and surrounded by a darker line. This is what happens when you're building in Ravage and you feel like doing the VIT-12 method. You make peak. And my saw blades work pretty much the same but with circles and other shapes. In terms of spikes and saw blades, you'll honestly be seeing me reusing these designs a lot. I know it'll get repetitive soon, but right now I kind of just fell in love with these designs, since Ravage at least, so I'm going to try to get some good value out of them. But anyways, on to the next section. This section is pretty simple, so it would also go by quickly. I like to add ground spikes so the ground isn't empty. Simple! Not only are they good places to add some extra decoration, but it also helps to blend in the bottoms of my block designs. I don't know how many other people put black glow at the bottom of their block designs, but I've been doing it since the olden days. Anyways, for my ground spikes, I chose the round circle looking ones. They're my favorite and just work for anything. They just do, don't question me. Next up, I added some low brightness glow behind them and many details that fit the underwater theme, like really bright fake spikes with glow on top, some animated line objects that I made look like seaweed, and these broken type of slopes that I made look like coral. I actually got that idea from the level underwater, specifically this part that I'll force editor Robocoin to credit on screen because I don't even know what I'm talking about. But overall, I'm pretty satisfied with these ground spikes as well. Anyways, next section.
Let's go crazy. Say goodbye to my mom. I've been here too long. I've done too many wrong.
This section is also simple but important to me. I don't know about y'all. Screen glow is a name I came up with for large pieces of glow that y'all glow design creators tend to stick to the sides of your screens for some cool effects and moods. But if there's one thing glow design creators did back in the day, it was to not give an F about how many objects they used to make them. To give the creators credit though, the glow objects that they had to use were lower quality during 2.1 for some reason, which was very noticeable when you scaled them up, which is why people stacked a bunch of them next to each other to make them look better, or to make them blend in better and look better. But even I thought that anything over 50 objects was very overkill, but I still saw them anyway, hence why some popular glow design levels killed my Lenovo tablet. Well, my laptop's the thing that's actually burned, but I really have used a Lenovo tablet for like all of 2.1. Now it's even slower than Secret Way defending a PDF file, and I haven't really needed to use it since I got my new PC, and I'm never going back. Never! Luckily, when RobTop updated the glow objects in 2.2, that removed the need for me to use any more than 4 objects for my screen glow. I wasn't exaggerating for that either. That's what I used in Blue Memories. So yeah, if you're an experienced glow creator now, I guarantee you will not need anything more than 4 or 6 or 8. You know what? As long as it's just under 50, I should be able to run it on a potato. And thanks to my skill of optimization, my gaming laptop lives to see another year. I froze the other game. Anyways, next section.
We don't get along. We don't get along.
Backgrounds are basically the shit that I put behind all this deco, and for good reason. Imagine that every time you played an average glow design level, you always had to look at a default background. But to solve this problem, most glow design creators turn regular dangular objects into moving pillars, because that's usually the go-to, I believe. But I am different. I recently got into the habit of making whole art backgrounds, and boy oh boy did it pay off, because the shit I make full delivers on the theme with same-day shipping. It always starts with some scaled up squares. Fun fact, another plus to making these type of backgrounds is that every time you go through a portal, the background doesn't flash. You don't see any flashes in the background that it forces on you. Matter of fact, if someone knows how to turn those off in vanilla GD, someone hit me up. But anyways, since I'm capturing an underwater environment, I decided to just add 3 different hills and scaled them to where the smaller ones looked farther away. I also made those move slower and slower to fool your eyes. Something about perspective, yada yada Sputniks. Anyway, and even better, I use collision triggers to make each hill loop back into its original place every time. The reason you won't really notice this while you're playing, because each hill on each editor layer is exactly identical, so nothing looks like it's cutting also suddenly in the background. This effect is very complicated depending on who you ask, but I'll still try to make a tutorial video in the future if another part I make calls for a background, which it will, I can't lie. The last thing I did was turn some regular dangular brick objects into moving pillars. To solve this problem, most glow design creators turn regular dangular objects into moving pillars, because that's usually okay, forget what I said. Sometimes you gotta do it, but not all the time, because I cooked with my art background and that's it. Next section, boom. Air deco is basically me putting random details around the level to make it look less empty. But for my case in Blue Memories in this part of the building process, I feel like everything I had carried so far, I only needed to add a few more things. And those things were some glow and wind swirls for the portals, then some colored seaweed behind the block designs, using these flowers with an invisible color for the detail bit. And we're done with the air deco. But the text did say air deco and indicators. Stupid! Anyways, indicators, I use them to tell you where to go. Boom. Nothing like some arrows layered over some squares with RTX glow can't do. And we'll do the exact same thing but with only circles. Sometimes it really is as simple as that, although sometimes you may need some inspiration, and I was inspired by Colado's part in absolute velocity to even start, but I still think I did enough job. Now we're on to the second to last section. At this point in the building process, there were only 2 final things I wanted to add to my part that I believed would make the part blend in with all the others. The first thing I added was fish. Yeah. Fish. Gosh, that's gonna sound so bad. Who knew this one weird object would get milked harder than people telling you to check Steam? It is like the best coincidence ever that this looks like a fish, I can't lie. And the second and last thing I added was my logo. Perfect. Fun fact, this guy was the inspiration for my logo. Andrix, you beautiful Russian god. Oh yeah, my part totaled to 5.2k objects. I'm basically Blee if he stayed in the hood. Maybe I should just make that my talent, being an optimizer in the glow design community. Or maybe just the community in general, but time will tell. Anyways, time for the final section of the video. Woo! And that is how I built my part in Blue Memories by Sam Zaya. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and how I explained it. I'm more proud of how I made this video compared to my older works. It feels more well thought out since I actually bothered to make a script this time. Let me know what y'all think in the comments, because I'm thinking of making a decoration checklist whenever I recap this stuff so I can make my vid making process easier, because the script I'm talking on has over 2,000 words, I can't lie with you. But anyways, soon I'll try to edit and post some commentary videos I got with my friends while building in levels like these, including Blue Memories. Be sure to comment any feedback you have on my part or editing, and I'll see y'all in the next video.